Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here and welcome to my review of Doctor Who Season 25, Story 2, The Happiness Patrol. Now, this one's kind of an underrated gem, in my opinion. I think it handles its story really well. I think it's got a very, very good concept. A Earth colony that has to be where the people are forced to be happy, and if you are sad or miserable, then you are considered a killjoy and you are made to disappear and are executed in a particularly nasty way, whether that's being given to the Candyman to be turned into sweets or suffocated in a tube full of one of the Candyman's sweet gooeys, or electrocuted in a slot machine, or shot by the Happiness Patrol, or enter their ranks. And if you're unlucky, then oh dear. But if you are lucky, then you join the Happiness Patrol. Happiness will prevail. However, because of this, people are starting to feel unhappy about this under the rule of Helen A, the leader. And because of that, lots of people are disappearing because everyone is starting to feel miserable under this regime. Everyone, most people, quite a lot of people are pretending to still be happy, but hiding their sadder side. But the Happiness Patrol will always find you. So it comes down to the Doctor and Ace when they arrive on the planet to put a stop to the forced happiness and try and free the population so that they can express whatever emotions they like. And this is a genius concept. This is so good. It's such a great concept. It's also a bit like the Time Agent episode, the musical, where you had this fairy going around trying to make everybody happy, but it was forced happiness. It wasn't real, it was fake. So Agent Liam, the main character of the series, had to basically pretend to be insulted by the creature in order to stop world peace, because he knew it was all fake love. All the happiness was fake, and everyone should be allowed to express their emotions, whatever they be. And the same is the message here. The Doctor and Ace want to free the people so that they can express their emotions. They have the right to be sad or miserable or offended or angry. They don't have to be happy, smiley all the time, listening to lift music. God, the lift music is annoying in this one. If you wanted them to be happy, change the music. Lift music is play rock and roll or something. Heck, like the guy who helps the Doctor a lot with the harmonica, the blues. Some of that, so you got some upbeat tunes there. You can have some of those. That's fun. And yeah, that guy is quite fun in the scenes he gets. He pops up a few times and helps the Doctor out. He's really fun. Ace also gets a friend, Susie Q, I believe it is. She's a member of the Happiness Patrol who isn't really liking what's going on at the moment. Lots of her friends are disappearing, and she's starting to feel a bit sad. So she's ready to die until she gets rescued and helps with the revolution. She's basically the Finn of the Happiness Patrol. Finn from Star Wars, the sequel trilogy. She's basically the Finn of the Happiness Patrol, where not really a defector, but someone who pretty much goes against the group. Meanwhile, our dictator Helena, to be fair, I can see what she wants. She wants everyone to be happy. The problem with that is that she's forcing it down on everyone. She's forcing it. It's not like you have this civilization saying, "Oh, we want them to be happy," but they're not letting them do it at their own accord. Macra Terror did a similar thing, but they still let them have their own emotions. They wouldn't take them to the correctional hospital just for being cross. So there was quite a few main characters in that story that got cross and never went near the hospital unless they were a guard. So it was a bit like that, although they kind of did shove their role down people's throats as well, their influence. But yeah, Helena, great villain, and she's really fun. And I think, is it Sheila Dunn who plays her? The actress who plays her is delicious. Oh, she's so good. She's really good. And she also has this pet dog creature called Fifi, which goes around It doesn't really kill anyone. That would have been something that maybe we should have gotten. See Fifi actually cause some damage or hurt people at the very least. I think we should have seen that. But I like their chemistry. I mean, Fifi is a practical. Not sure what it is. It's some sort of animatronic, but just they have some really great chemistry, and Helena shows some real love for her, which kind of makes it a bit distraughting for her when at the very end. We'll get to that. Similarly, we also have the Candyman. Now, if there was one thing about this story that I had to say wasn't very good, it would be the Candyman. Okay, the idea of the Candyman is really good. However, they make him look like Mr. Bassett, made all out of licorice by the looks of it. Lots of different types of licorice and sweets with marshmallow feet. The Candyman is a robot, made to look like sweets, I suppose. I think the design is a bit silly, but he could have been scary. I mean, I think he is pretty threatening, but that's as a character. That's his character personality, as opposed to what he looks like. But I think he could have looked scary if they got someone who could sound scary as well. Because the guy they get, or voice, he doesn't really sound that threatening. A little bit. I think he does a great job. But I think they should have gotten someone who could deliver the lines more scarily. Like, you don't want to get on the wrong side of him. Like, the story presents it as someone you don't want to get on the wrong side of, but I think we should have gone down a route where you really didn't want to get on his wrong side. Someone who you would be petrified of. I think we should have someone like that. But they got someone who was a bit more soft-spoken, who was good at shouting. But, fair dues to the guy. He does a good job, but I think he should have been scarier. I think they should have gotten someone scary, especially as we got such a silly costume. And the scariness of the character through the performance could have overseen. You could overlook the costume and and be scared by the guy because he's giving such a creepy performance. So that'll make a creepier costume. Turns out it's a robot at the very end, of course. I think it's pretty obvious from the start, but later at the end, it's turned out to be a costume. Also, I think he doesn't get used that much. I think he should have been used a little bit more. But okay. He's still a recognisable character. I think Big Finish should bring him back, or have brought him back. I'm not sure what he sounds like, though. You won't be able to see what he looks like, I don't think, unless it's on the cover. But I'm not sure. Anyway, there's also quite a few other characters around that do a little couple of stuff. Some of them help the Doctor out. Some of them not so much. There's the guy who Helena's husband, and there's also Gilbert, who's helping the Candyman. At the very end, the two of them kind of escape the planet together and avoid all the bloodshed. And to be honest, I think there is a slightly gay undertone between the two, possibly. There's not really. It's never stated, but I wouldn't mind it if there was a kind of a homosexual underline between the two of them. They kind of come off as a kind of a double act in one scene anyway when talking about the Candyman's death. Although how they get into the shuttle very quickly for the next time they appear is questionable, but it's fine. And yeah, I like to think there's some sort of homosexual gay underline between the two. Maybe there's some sort of an attraction. Maybe they don't actually love each other, but maybe there's some sort of underline. I would like to think that would be interesting. And there's also these guys who live underneath under in the are they on the page? Might be one of them. There's these people who live under the city, and I think they're the original inhabitants of the planet. Phlegm. They're interesting. You can't really understand what they're saying that much, apart from stuff they pick up from Ace, like Ace and Wicked. I really like the bit where one of them goes Wicked, because it proves that they're taking some. They've been listening to Ace, and it's really cool. And yeah, it's some really great stuff with them. The costumes could have been handled a bit better, but for what they were, they're done fine. They're quite cool. It would have been nice to know a bit more about them, though. And the members of the Happiness Patrol, there's this one who's in charge of the waiting zone, which is pretty much their equivalent of a prison, but they don't have prisons because they're not very nice places, of course. So they have the waiting zone where they wait for you to be executed. Yeah, prisons are depressing places, but executions are fine. Happiness must prevail, I guess. But yeah, there's this one who's in charge of the waiting zone, and yeah, she's a good character. Even more so is the leader of the Happiness Patrol. She's quite a fun character, and they have some really good stuff throughout the story. Also have to mention that they do a really great job with making this bleak, depressing location where you have to pretend to smile all the time. It's really great how they made it like a depressed, worn down world, but you've got to pretend everything's jolly and smiling and puppies and kittens and all that. I'm sure Stuart Hardy would say. So yeah, I think they do a really great job, and I think this atmosphere is done really well, and the kitchen's set is also really great. And no wonder they keep going back to it. It's really nice, and I also like how the Doctor kind of confronts Helena in part 2, but doesn't outright deliver doesn't outright give her a talk about it. They just have a quick conversation, but he doesn't really go all in, and she doesn't go all in either. So that would have been something more for part 3, and he does confront her again later on. A bit more Seventh Doctor mysterious action-wise, a la Remembrance of the Daleks, Cartmel Master Plan. So yeah, I actually like that. I kind of like him going in and pretty much kind of confronting her, but not outright. They don't get into an outright argument or get into trouble with each other. He just leaves and goes off to deal with the Candyman again. And then comes back to deal with her properly later. That's actually quite interesting. And the confrontation is really good as he's trying to set it, he then lets it all down to her, and he can do it in his spectacular, mysterious manner. And at the very end, Helena sees a injured Fifi after getting injured in the tunnels after all this sugar coating on the top of the roof fell on top of her. And now she's died, and Helena weeps. And then that's where, I guess, where she discovers the non-happy emotions. She's towards the end of part 3, she's discovering the non-happy emotions, and she finally realizes it by the end. And the Doctor just looks down over them mysteriously and quite dark. Pretty great image of Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred looking down on top of them. And whilst Ace is wondering if they should do anything, the Doctor is like, it's done. Basically like how he was at the end of Remembrance of the Daleks when he killed the Supreme Dalek by talking to it, and it decided to self-destruct because of that. And another thing with the Seventh Doctor and being dark and mysterious is when he pretty much talks a guy on sniper duty on the roof to put down his gun, because he pretty much talks him, kind of eggs him on to shoot him, but as the gun is supposed to be for long range, the guy's never done an up close bit, but the guy realizes he can't do it, and the Doctor is pretty much being all dark and mysterious at the time. Like, go on, shoot me. You like guns, don't you? Go ahead, kill me, end my life. I can't. Why not? I don't know. Yes. Yeah, so the Seventh Doctor pretty much stops the guy from shooting him by talking to him, by egging him on, but the guy realizes he can't do it, so the Doctor makes him put the weapon down. Brilliant. That's possibly the best Seventh Doctor scene in his era so far, even more so than some of his Remembrance of the Dalek scenes, although he had so many great stuff there. I also think Sophie Aldred gets to shine a lot as Ace in the story, and also the supporting cast gets a lot of great time as well. I even like the pink TARDIS. I think that fits well with what they've been with the atmosphere of the location throughout the story until the very end, where they painted blue again, just as well. The poor TARDIS. This era is seeing it get a lot of paint on it. There was some graffiti on it in Paradise Towers, and it won't be the last time you'll see graffiti on the TARDIS, a la Aliens of London World War III. Yeah, it's a really good story. Some really great stuff going for it, and I think it also fits through parts really well. I think it's handled great and does a brilliant job. So yeah, I think, I mean, yeah, maybe some elements that aren't quite great. I think the Candyman should have been a bit more scary, either by design or with the costume, or they should have gone an actor who could play scary more. Sylvester McCoy, if he wasn't the Doctor, he'd be a perfect choice because he could do the darkest, scarier moments. Okay, he can do that for the Doctor, maybe not for the Candyman, but someone dark and who could play dark, scary, creepy. Just yeah, but who they get, he just sounds a bit normal with kind of a tweak in the voice. I think he does a good job, but I think they should have made the character scarier. I think that's really my only issues with the story. I think it's a good, fast-paced story. I think the only other thing is that the budget can be a little bit noticeable, but then again, it's late 80s Doctor Who. I've got to judge it as it is, with the budget included. And I think, to be honest, the budget does do a good job with this one. I think it's just about managing this season. So yeah, I think the Happiness Patrol is a really great story. It has such a great concept behind it, and I think the execution works really well as well. So I'm going to be giving the Happiness Patrol a 9 out of 10. Given it a 10 if this Candyman was scarier, or at least creepier, whether that be by costume or by actor or both. But you know, the concept behind him is still really good, and it's also a very fun story. It's dark, but it's also fun, and also a bit of a political story as well, political undertones, and yeah, and you might be able to see what's going on, but. To understand, but yeah, it's still really good and really entertaining, and you'll have a good time. So yeah, the Happiness Patrol, it's a very good story, pretty underrated. I highly recommend it. So that's it from me. Thank you for watching. Next time we'll be taking a look at the final classic series Cyberman story, the only one where the Cybermen go up against the 7th Doctor, and another underrated story in this, not just season, but this era in general, Silver Nemesis. And this is also the 25th anniversary story of the season, as it was, the part 1 aired on 23rd of November 1988, the 25th anniversary date. And in New Zealand, the whole story was broadcast on that date. And Silver anniversary. Yeah. So yeah, we'll be taking a look at Doctor Who's 25th anniversary story. It's not a special like 3 Doctors, it's a story. 5 Doctors and Day of the Doctor count as specials. And I suppose Dimensions in Time sort of does, but then again, it's also a Children Need special, and 2 parts for that one. So anyway, Silver Nemesis is next, and I'll see you guys then. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel. Oh, blimey, we had a late lunch. Without being well, at least unless they were a guard. But I think they should have gone someone who was a bit more scary, a bit more threatening. Phlegmy throat. Someone who could possibly scare people. Bastard stony prick. To quote Sean Connery from Christmas Bonding. I can't. You can't? No. Wine. No, I can't. No. So overall, the Happiness Patrol is a brilliant story, and I think I think it's just really great, and really, really great. So, the Happiness Patrol, very good, very underrated. Lots of people should check it out. But anyway, next time, Silver Nemesis. And I shall see you guys next time.